Okay.
Mhm.
All
You
right.
like Canva, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So I'm just going to go over the agenda with you real quick. So first, we'll go over goals and objectives. Second, paid media strategy and analytics. Third, project plan, timeline, and then lastly, setting expectations. All right. So goals. This is what you put in the Notion. So I just wanted to put it here, just so
Hmm.
we can, talk about it and go over it. So you
Hmm.
said increase meta ads, ROAS. I mean, that's definitely what we do here. It's all about
Hmm.
meta. So that's definitely something that could help. And then increasing sales page conversion rate, you got increasing sales page views, and then improving click-through rate for email marketing campaigns. So when it comes to increasing sales page views, do you just mean like more traffic, advertising to specific sales page, or what is it that you mean when you put like increasing sales page views?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean that this was something that like I expected you to focus on, but I definitely like know that the more people who look at our sales page, the higher our daily sales will be. So I'm focusing on like increasing social traffic and ads traffic, just getting as many people as we can to the sales page so that they can see it and be like, oh, is this product for me? Yes or no. And that kind of ties in with the conversion rate. So like
Yeah,
get
exactly.
people there and then make it convert better once they're there.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And plus, I mean, we advertise to a specific page, then we could see more traffic, more we could see the.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then when you say improve click-through rate for email marketing, I think you're saying like improve like your email marketing strategy, correct?
Yeah. Like the drip campaign from the freebie, like
Yeah.
making sure that they're yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about objectives here. So for sure, getting that 4x ROAS, I think that's like the objective when it comes to meta ads, just getting to that 4x ROAS and then uh increasing the budget and just being consistent. So that's the goal that I'm going to, be aiming for.
Mhm.
And second would be when it comes to your sales pages and, increasing that conversion rate, I would recommend installing Google Analytics. It looks like
Mm.
you didn't have Google Analytics at all. Just
Mhm.
based on like the notion. You said they just put like NA. I think it's very important to have that set up. And we could actually set up a report where we could see the conversion rate of specific landing pages, which would be very
Mhm.
beneficial to you. And with J4, you could track engagement on your site, traffic sources, and just overall the customer journey and other metrics. I know Shopify Analytics could do some of these things, just that Google Analytics 4 has a lot more metrics and a lot more data that we could look into and take advantage of.
Yeah, well, and Shopify tracks like total site views, and that because our tools are being used on the site, we don't actually know if like our color palette builder sales page converts better than the brand guideline builder. So that is a cool way to track that. I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. The conversion rate, yeah, is definitely low, but that's because of your customer traffic, using tools and understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is concerning when you see Shopify, you see like a 0.5% conversion rate, you're like, what's going on? But I
Hmm.
understand why. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. It's like one person might be like using the tool and one person might be shopping. There's like really no way to know unless I set up analytics.
exactly. So I'll be supporting you with that, just getting
Cool.
that tracked because what isn't tracked, we can't measure, and we can't measure, we can't improve. So
Yeah.
that's very like number one priority, getting that set up.
Cool.
And as far as email marketing, I could help with just taking a look at it, giving recommendations on the strategy, make sure you have like the standard e-commerce email flows, create segmented lists, any specific email automations that you need. And then we could start talking about like how we could generate more qualified leads through paid media and create more segmented lists based on those qualified leads. So I'll support with kind of like overall strategy. If we need to bring in an email marketer, I'll let you know. But
Mhm.
I want to take a look at it first.
Cool. I'm also planning on moving over to Klaviyo. So I think that'll
Great.
make a big difference too.
Great. Yeah, I love Klaviyo. I'll be a bigger help with Klaviyo.
Sweet.
All right. And then I just wanted to go more into detail with Google Analytics 4. Are you familiar with Looker Studio, by any chance?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have a friend who is like building a metrics tracking dashboard tool and she's like using it. So I just learned about it last week, but
Okay.
I'm still new to it.
Got it. Okay, so using Looker Studio, you can create all types of reports, especially with Google Analytics. And I work with a specialist with Google Analytics for, and he can help us set up an overview of all your landing pages, including like engagement, scroll depth, time on the page, which is interesting to see too, and
Mhm.
conversion rates of each level of engagement, as well as just overall conversion rate for like specific landing pages.
Cool.
So that I'm excited for this actually, most of all. Like once we have Google Analytics, we can create reports, then we can see the conversion rate of these pages, and then we can start talking about strategy after that.
Yeah. Is that a separate investment to get this page?
Yeah, but I want to invest in this because I think this is super valuable for like my other clients. So
Hmm.
I wanna like try it out with your case because you're a particular case because most of my clients do not have like point five conversion rate. It's typically like 2-3%. So I
Hmm.
think this is like a perfect report for you, and then I could kind of like
Hmm.
dissect and improve it over time.
Okay. Well, let me know if you need something from me to get that set up.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about paid media, my favorite part.
Oh.
All right. So I went over this in the audit. I was just going over my four-phase strategy.
Mhm.
And I just want to go over this real quick with you, just so the next slides make sense. So first phase, testing. This is where we test all types of things. Test video hooks, copy, just different angles of the hooks, and we test 10 variations at a time. So for example, if we want to test the primary text, just the first line, we do 10 variations of that, and we don't change the video, we don't change the headline, we don't change anything else with the ad. We just test one variable. So we're going to do different types of tests in phase one. And then whatever performs the best from that, we move it to phase two to validate the ad.
Mm.
And I was kind of looking at your metrics, and I think a good CPA for you, cost per purchase, would be anything below a 30, below 30.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay.
And actually, right now, that's what you're hitting in the last 7 days. That's what I saw.
Dang. That is so exciting. I noticed our ads were like working a lot better since I made the changes that you recommended, which was very exciting. And like,
I,
yeah, I'm
I
into
actually
it.
paused. I actually paused like I think one or two ads in there too, just so it could
Sweet.
be less ads. And I mean, so far it's been doing well, so that's great. All right.
Great. Thank you.
And then phase three, it's all about audience testing. I think this is going to be very important for you because you're not too sure what's working. All you really know is that graphic designers interest is working. But I think that would be a good campaign to test all types of different audiences.
Yeah.
And then the last campaign or the last phase would be scaling. So there's a couple different scaling strategies. And we only do this campaign once we find a proven creative and a proven audience. And then we
Mhm.
could start talking about like scaling at that point. All right. So the first phase, I was thinking let's let's do for the first test hooks. And this is just an example of like build a brigade of what
Mhm.
we did 10 variations of hooks and 10 variations of headlines. And it's just an example of what we got and what performed the best. And when I say hooks, I just mean like the first line of the
Mhm.
primary text, because that's what really matters. And then if people
Mhm.
want to continue reading it, they could click on like see more and they could read the rest.
Mhm.
So when it comes to this, it would be the hook, and then some text and like a call to action. And then
Mm-hmm.
that part is going to be the same for all 10 variations. The only difference is that first line.
Okay, so if I was doing like fixing a color palette, like the videos that I have been doing, it would just be 10 different hook variations of that. Like making a color palette doesn't have to be hard. Here's how to fix a palette. I'm a graphic designer. Here's how to fix like stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I was coming up with like different angles for like the ad copy,
Uh-huh.
and these are just some ideas like tools focus on brand design, fixing a bad web design, improving your clients' websites with this color palette, design for branding. So these are just like kind of like topics or themes to focus on when it comes to the copy. Um, Maybe talk about like psychology of colors, how it could improve the conversion rate of your website. You could talk about trusted by the top branding experts, designed by a top graphic designer. We could focus on like social proof, like trusted by 1K plus designers. So these are just different angles that we could think through. And I created a sheet already for phase one where we could go and put the different hooks and we go back and forth on that.
Sweet. Okay. And just so I understand it right, like if I'm doing um fixing a bad web design and then the psychology of colors, those are two different hooks, but they also sound like they're describing like two different videos. Would we focus the rest of the video on like where the hook led us, all while promoting the tool, or is the real only difference supposed to be the hook?
Well, we'll talk about like how if it makes sense based on the creative we're using.
Okay.
Um, these are just like different ideas to start off with. Like for sure, like if something doesn't make sense, please let me know. These are just like different bullet points that I wanted to like bring up, and we could discuss it further later on.
Cool.
All right, so here are your top creatives from what I saw in the ads. And of course, the ad copy, that's something that I wanted to focus on first because you're just using a very like just one line hashtags. It's like very organic type of ad. But even though it's an ad, but you're making it look like organic, which I understand. But like when it comes to ads, we want to test different types of hooks and also give like a call to action. That's what works for the most part when it comes to running Facebook and Instagram ads. So that's
Mhm.
the first thing that I would want to focus on. So yeah, when I say hook, it would be like we could even test like this one, like how to fix a color palette. That could be one variation. And then we could have 9 other variations saying some other stuff, some other hooks.
Mhm.
I did notice that the creators that perform the best, you say that you mentioned that you can't really use this in the website, but this is how you fix it. So
Mm.
that hook seems to be working right now. We could double down on that. First, I would say let's focus on the top creatives right that you have right here. Let's test different hooks. Let's possibly test different headlines. I don't think the headlines would be that important of a test because most of your sales are coming from Instagram, not really Facebook. And when it comes to Instagram, they don't really have a headline; they just have like the primary text
Mhm.
versus Facebook where they have a headline. So uh,
Mm.
I'll go through the testing, but I think most importantly would be that first line that people see.
Cool.
And then this ad did well too. It's just that it didn't run that long. You were talking about like the like a cosmic vibe.
Mhm.
So I might use this video too for the testing.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, when it comes to creative testing right now, we'll use the creatives that have performed well and test different copy. Uh, but with this strategy that I laid out, the 4-phase strategy. Once we find the right audience, good copy, winning video hook, then we can start talking about new creatives to develop. Because let's just say that we find a good hook, talking about website design or anything at all, and we see that it's doing well, then okay, then I tell you like, okay, well, maybe we could do some type of video related to that hook.
Mhm.
So that's why I like doing the testing, seeing what people resonate with or what they click through, and then we can start developing creatives with that data.
Okay. Oh, so I have a question just so I understand I'm talking about Hook the right way. And actually, this might not be that hard because I thought I was going to have to re-record all of the videos, which would be fun, like 10 videos for each Hook idea. But I could really just clip out the first like 10 seconds, which is like the part on my face, because every one of these videos starts out on my face and then I flip it to my screen. So I could just like re-edit these where there's a different like first 10 seconds. Are we talking about the same thing when we say test 10 different hooks?
Yeah, I mean, when I say test 10 different hooks, that could be just a copy, or also what I call it is openers. So that would be the video. So the first 3 seconds
Okay.
that just so we could get the terminology correct here. Hooks,
Yeah.
I just mean like the ad copy, the first line that people read. Openers
Okay.
would be the that first 3 seconds. Hook, I guess three, yeah, I guess you call it hook too. They're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's just say hook would be the copy and the opener would be the first 3 seconds of the video. So yeah, that we could do that too.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Because I do have all these videos saved to where like I could just pop them into my editing software and just like do a bunch of different first line
Yeah,
tests where the rest is the same and that would not take long.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So perfect.
Oh, sick. Okay, cool.
Okay. So yeah, but we have enough right now with your current creatives to get the strategy going, at least for the first month, and then see what
Cool.
happens. And then, we could iterate from there.
Okay, so you're saying in month one, you'll test like the text-based
Yeah.
hooks. And then once we figure that out, then we'll play with video-based hooks.
Yeah. It might the ad copy is gonna be quick. It might just take
Mm-hmm.
a couple days. Um, I might test multiple variations, so who knows? I might test 30 different hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see what happens.
Cool.
Or I could even test thumbnails, just so you know, like what types of tests I could do. I could test thumbnails as well.
I didn't even know that you could have thumbnails, so that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
All right. So once we do the first phase, then we also want to do audience tests. So once
Mhm.
we have a good creative or when we find a winner,
Mhm.
that's when we want to do the phase 3 audience one, because we only do this with proven creatives.
Mhm.
And I see that a lookalike audience of your Instagram followers performed well on your account. So it would be worth the test. It's
Yeah.
just that I didn't spend too much. But that one, a lookalike audience of your Instagram followers, and then also just a graphic designer interest. It looks like Adobe Illustrator was the main like audience, like that's the biggest audience size.
Okay.
Field of study, graphic design, that's probably like 500,000 or less. Adobe
Mhm.
Illustrator, that's like millions.
Cool.
So yeah, I would say it's like Adobe Illustrator interest.
Sick. Okay. And that makes sense. That's the program that like brand designers would use. Like videographers would use a different Adobe program, but like if you're a graphic designer, you're using Adobe.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So audiences to test. I was thinking, of course, the lookalike audience of your Instagram
Mhm.
followers, 1%, 2%, 3%. We'll see which one performs the best. And then another lookalike audience of your customers, also 1, 2%, 3%. And there could be a couple of different audiences we could test here. Could be all your customers from your pixel. We could do a segmented list of anybody that has a average order value of over $90,
Mhm.
or we could do another list of an average order value of less than $90.
Can you do that without Klaviyo? Like, can you do that with just the Shopify plugin that's there now?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, it's easy.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
And then when it comes to graphic designers, we could have one as Adobe Illustrator, females 21 to 45, since that's what's helped performed well on this account.
Mhm.
And then some other ones that we could do is graphic design, just the graphic design, very broad interest, men and female, 21 to 45. Now this one's going to be very broad in your space, but I'd like to see what happens with this
Mhm.
audience. And then also we could do graphic design and then define it further by including Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop. Probably just include Adobe Illustrator. So it'll be people interested in graphic design and also interested in Adobe Illustrator. So it'll be refined
Sweet.
that way.
I like that. Do you think if we added an interest in Canva, it would be too muddy because so many people use Canva?
Yeah, but like it's also worth the test. It's worth
Yeah, like graphic designers with interest in Canva, that might be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see like what the difference in audience size is. Like if it changes by a lot, or if it changes by a little, like I want to see that difference. I would have to play around with it. But yeah, I think it's a good test.
Awesome.
Okay. Also, most importantly for you, exclusions. You definitely don't want your Instagram followers seeing your ads from a cold campaign because this is what tends to happen. You'll see a 5 ROAS. This is just an example from your account. You'll see a 5 ROAS, but in reality, you got like a 1.5 ROAS because the majority were people that already knew who you were, then maybe they engaged with you. They're already like warm traffic at that point, and they were gonna already convert anyways. So it's very important for us to exclude anybody that has, purchased from you, all social engagers, because we want to make it completely cold. And I already mentioned this in the audit, that we want to make a completely cold campaign so we could actually see a profitable campaign. Because this one, even though it looks profitable, like 5.6 ROAS, once you dig in and you look at the attribution, in reality, it was like a 1.5.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I'll do that. Now, the people that do engage with you, I think we should do a remarketing campaign. So all social engagers, anybody that engaged with you on Instagram, Facebook, liked, commented, shared, saved, whatever the case is, those people should be remarketed as well. And we could exclude anybody that purchased and just purely target people that has just engaged with you. And that could be a video of you, or it could be some type of testimonial ad. I'll tell you that like with Builder Brigade, like we tried doing like testimonial ads or we show reviews, like just like comments and stuff like that. That didn't perform as well as him doing like a video or explaining his checklist. So
Yeah. Okay.
it'll probably be better if it's a video of you talking about the color palette or the videos that you have right now for remarketing.
Cool.
Okay, so summary for the strategy. First, phase one, testing. We'll test different hooks. We could even test the call to action. I forgot to mention that because you've just been using learn more.
Yeah, I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could try shop now versus learn more. We'll see what happens, like what the difference is.
Cool.
And then validate the best hooks, move it over to phase two. And yeah, the goal is to get a CPA of under $30 and a ROAS of 4. Once I see that, then and it's consistent, then I'll let you know and we can start talking about increasing budget from there. And then the next campaign would be the remarketing, remarket to all social engagers. Of course, making sure that we have exclusions in place, just so like the first campaign is completely cold and the remarketing is just your warmer audience. Then once we figure out a top performing creative, then we would need to start testing audiences. So that's when we're gonna start testing like Canva, Adobe Illustrator, your lookalike audiences, and see which one performs the best. Because like surprisingly, like I've tested so many audiences with like Dennis, and all of them pretty much failed except that lookalike audience of 3%, which I found very interesting. Like, and it's still we're still performing well. It's consistent, and it's a 3% lookalike audience, and that's all we're using at the moment.
Wow. To purchasers?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with your account. So
yeah.
Okay, so once we know what works, we have a good structure, we could start expanding and testing more. Maybe we could speak towards like business owners, or maybe we could
Mhm,
start targeting specific countries like the
mhm,
UK, Australia. I mean, yours is really like worldwide. Like for dentists, like I don't know if I could do it like in Canada. I don't know how they're building houses over there, or in the UK. It's
mhm,
like probably a different way of building houses. But for you, I mean, there's graphic designers globally, so we could
mhm,
expand to different countries as well.
mhm.
And we could also talk about like once we get this figured out, then we could start talking about like creating specific sales pages. I think it would be better to hold off on that. Uh, First, we need to figure out like a good structure and audience and creative, and we need to understand what works before we start like doing that, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that does. And that gives me time too to like design those and just like kind of test it out because otherwise it's a lot of stuff to do right in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I wanted to bring up this, your sales. I noticed that the majority of your sales are like Google search, they're organic, and I'm guessing it's from that a tool, right? You're getting a lot of traffic from a tool.
Hmm.
Mm, Yeah, people are finding you organically or searching you directly. That's what I see
Hmm.
like your sales. So I'm curious, do you have well first, do you know what Google Search Console is?
I installed it like last month, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm new. I got it. And when I looked it up, I think I saw like a lot of the keywords were like related to like it was like color palette tester, color palette builder, color palettes. Like it was very on the nose stuff. Nothing surprised me, but I might be super wrong about that.
Okay, because there's a section, and here's a screenshot of one of my clients where you can see the top queries, like
Uh-huh.
search on terms that people are searching for, and you can see like how many clicks are coming from those search terms.
Uh-huh.
So if you could give me access to that, that'd be interesting data for me to look at.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send it to you because I did look at the search results and there was nothing super surprising in there, but like um yeah, you might see something that makes you
Got
think of something.
got it. Okay. All right. So you gave me a screenshot of like a survey, right? Like how people heard
Hmm.
of you. And yeah, the majority are Instagram. So it's clear to me that like Instagram is a good platform for you. But also I noticed TikTok, which I found interesting. I mean, 25,000 from TikTok and then a combination of YouTube and Google. So this
Hmm.
tells me that there's potential for you when it comes to advertising on TikTok and Google Ads. So we could have the conversation on that later on. First, we'll figure out Meta, find
Hmm.
what's working. Once we know what's working, I'm pretty confident that we could create some good campaigns on Google Ads and TikTok after that.
That's cool. I don't know if this is a today conversation and nothing is permanent, but I am testing out the idea of a separate TikTok account. It's like a long story, but I started this TikTok account like 3 years ago. And 2 years ago, I had a video go super viral about email signature templates. It had like 16 million views, and the account gained over 400,000 followers from that one video.
Wow.
So which was like so exciting at the time, but ever since then, I have had this massive audience and like really crap engagement because I don't spend my time talking about email signatures. And when I started the Color Palette Studio, I started with a fresh Instagram account and it grew to over 100,000 in the first year. So like literally last week, I was like, I'm just going to test and see if I start a fresh TikTok account, like, can I start to grow it? So I was thinking of giving that like a month or two to see if I can start growing some traction because I can always go back to my old TikTok account. Like I've paused it and come back in the past before. But I want to see if starting a fresh account leads to like a higher a more qualified audience essentially because it got to the point where my TikTok videos were mostly getting like 1,000 or 2,000 views, which is very low for a 400,000 person audience.
Yeah. Yeah, TikTok is challenging with engagement for sure. Like you gotta have that TikTok creative. It's different from Meta. But
Yeah.
if you find if it works on TikTok, it's most likely going to work on like YouTube Shorts or Facebook or Instagram. But
Yeah.
but when you like if you find something that works with Facebook and Instagram, it might not work on TikTok.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah, I think there's potential with you when it comes to Google Ads and TikTok, just because I mean the majority of your traffic is organic and they're finding you, they're searching you. So they're definitely there.
Mhm.
And based off of this like survey, I mean you are getting sales from TikTok or they're finding.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So project plan here, timeline. So first month, we want to start, increasing that ROAS. We're going to be testing the copy, audience testing, and just overall account structure that I just went over with.
Mhm.
Setting up all the tracking and reporting for ads, conversion rate optimization. I'll probably help you out with Shoplift because I just like using Shoplift. I want to see what I could do there for you too.
Cool.
And just also, if you're okay with it, setting up the tracking on other platforms. So TikTok ads and Google, just setting up the pixel so we can start collecting data.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. And then August, optimize the campaigns, get a consistent campaign. If results are great, start increasing budget. And then we could start having the conversation of like a sales page, but it just
Mhm.
depends on what we see results wise. And then September, we could start talking about potentially expanding over to TikTok and Google based on the performance.
Mhm.
And I'll take a look at your email marketing. But maybe like in September, we can start talking about like lead gen, about like getting qualified leads. I just don't want to do that in the beginning because we first need to figure out how to get you a full ROAS, and then we can start talking
Mhm.
about like lead generation later on.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, because like we're not shoving a bunch of people over to our like lead gen tool. We're sending them to the sales page. So like the lead gen thing doesn't necessarily have to come first.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And then I just wanted to set some expectations when it comes to ads. I've dealt with all types of things just over the years. So I just wanted to bring up a couple. So firstly, ad fatigue, that does exist. Sometimes we'll run an ad and we could run it uh, for weeks without declining in performance, and some could even last months. Like I've seen one that lasts months and months. Um, so it really depends on how big the audience is, market, multiple factors. But I'm just saying that ad fatigue could happen. The algorithm will focus on people that are more likely to convert, and we might need to do like a refresh or do a different creative, whatever the case is. But yeah,
Mhm.
firstly, ad fatigue. Second is budget adjustment. So if we allocate budgets, we move budgets around, it could cause some immediate fluctuations in ad performance. And that could just be like a day or two. Like, let's just say we're getting consistent results, and you're like, Sergio, what happened? Like, just results went down, and it could just be because I was like moving around budgets and making some adjustments. We should only be concerned when if it's like continuously going down. That's when
Mhm.
we're like, okay, we need to figure out what's going on. Uh, Another thing is like algorithm changes. So sometimes Meta will have some unique algorithm change or something will change with the policy. Sometimes your ad will randomly get disapproved. That's happened to me in the past, and then it kind of messes up with the optimization. So I'd have to like restart it, and it just sucks. Hopefully, it doesn't happen to you, but
Yeah.
has happened to me in the past where like let's just say we're getting 50 conversions a week, and then it randomly gets disapproved, and I kind of have to restart it and get that momentum going up again.
Mm.
There's demand fluctuation, so certain times of the year could dramatically affect results. Holidays, I mean, the election is coming up. Not sure how ads are going to affect that, but just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, last year, like the last 2 weeks of the year were just total duds for sales. So I kind of think that like past December 15th, I'm not expecting much in sales, we could probably like cut them off.
Gotcha. Also, there's like sometimes there'll be like technical issues, ad tracking issues, something I have to look into on the technical side. But I'll let you know of if that ever happens. And then just keeping in mind that Meta needs 50 conversions a week to get consistent results. And I mean, I've seen some clients where with higher average order values where they don't have to get 50 conversions a week. Like, because for example, I have a client that their average order value is like over $400. They
Mm,
can only get a couple of sales. They don't have to get 50 conversions a week, and they're still very profitable.
mhm.
But for you, I think you could get to those 50 conversions a week. And once we get to that point, we'll be more consistent. And then with Google, I just added a note there that it's less conversions depending on the bidding strategy, but I'm not going to go over that because it's super technical and
Yeah.
it takes some time to explain that. All right, so communication preference. I different clients prefer to communicate in different ways. Some are okay with Slack. Dennis is okay with like Loom videos. Like I just send them a Loom video. We could set up a call just to go over things quickly. Whatever you prefer, it's up to you.
Okay. I have Slack and I use it all day for other stuff. So Slack is fine with me. Also email and Loom is fine with me. Both of those are fine.
Okay, then Slack. I choose Slack because I like Slack.
Me too. Also, I think this is gonna pop off. Do you want me to make a Zoom link and send
Oh
it to
yeah,
you?
I really do gotta upgrade that. Yeah, please.
All right, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.